Hey guys, welcome to the channel, it's Irad, and today we are going to be reacting to the latest episode of Inside Star Citizen. Apparently we got a brand new ship from Drake coming, and it's something worth looking at, so, well, let's go. Especially if you like caterpillars, well, you might like this one as well.
Invictus Launch Week coverage, as we look beyond the event to the new offering being unveiled at this year's Drake DefenseCon. The far superior brand excluded from the usual Invictus festivities because it's too damn cool.
It is.
I said it, and I'm tired of
I
pretending
love
it's
Drake.
not true.
I love Drake ships. We need to have more Drake ships. Sorry, guys. I know that some of you guys hate Drake. I love it.
These sentiments were recorded in April before that rap beef stuff, and Disco
in
would like
April.
it known
So
that
they did
K-Dot
that a
is
long
king.
time ago, actually.
Hashtag Westside. Also, that David is the best. Woohoo! Now we
That's
resume
John
the program.
Crew. That's the voice of John Crew, isn't
Let's
it?
force John Crew to talk about it now.
So in the Star Citizen universe, we have a lot of cargo ships,
Yeah.
but they're sort of concentrated around the lower end of cargo hauling, sort of the low hundreds SCU and below.
Yeah,
and
not
the
even
very
that,
end
right? The
where
C1
there's
is just 64.
multi-thousands. There's a mix of cargo ships which have their cargo on the inside, ones on the outside like the Hull series, and we really wanted to bring something different where it's sort of sits right in the middle. It's a nice progression step and facilitates both internal and external loading of cargo.
Now that's actually a very good point, right? Because we got a lot of stuff at 150-ish, Constellation Taurus, Freelancer. We got a little bit more with the Karak 456, and then we got the Caterpillar at 576, and then it's the C2 Hercules at how much is that? 696, I think. It's like almost 700. But then we're moving straight to 360, right, with the whole C. So there needs to be something in between, and something that maybe we can use to also land at some of the outposts, right? That like the really high-end, manageable carrier for goods, and that's something that we are missing right now. And if they can bring that, I think that's going to be a huge hit, huge seller here.
Which is where the Drake Ironclad comes in.
The Ironclad is rad. Is rad for Irad. What is that? Ooh. Oh yeah, it's concept art, right? It's not going to be straight to flyable. Obviously, it's going to take a long time to make.
Kind of next step up for Drake cargo ships. It kind of builds on what the Caterpillar brings, but in a much larger form.
That is.
The Drake Ironclad
Look at those engines.
is a six-person multi-crew armored freighter. A large proportion of the ship is dedicated to the cargo bay.
Yeah, they do say 6-person, but it should be flyable by 1 person. It's not going to be fantastic. It's not going to be easy to entirely load. Remember that in the future, everything is going to be loaded by hand. You are going to need some, maybe some mules. I think the PTV tractor is going to be fantastic for this kind of ship as well. So it's definitely going to be something that, like operations that you're going to be doing with more than 1 person.
At the front of it, which has both a front ramp for loading and unloading cargo.
Right, it's really big. Like you can definitely put an Ursa rover. I don't think that there's gonna be enough room here to put a ballista, right? But it would be cool though if we could put some of the biggest ground vehicles. But definitely the civilian ones will be something useful. I would love to use that as a transport, like see like a bigger competitor of the C2 Hercules. That would be fantastic.
And small vehicles on the ground, as well as a retractable roof.
All right, so this is how they have sound effects also. This is how the interior kind of looks like. Yeah, I can put some 32s here, another 32, so that each row be 64, 100. Oh yeah, I can a plus on several. Oh yeah, I can definitely see at almost 2,000 SCU being available there in that big cargo hold. Yeah, that is huge. That is a huge space that we're looking at here. Oh yeah.
That in space with EVA as well.
Little tight entrances to cargo ships doesn't necessarily lend itself to when you're out in deep space and you're trying to quickly move some cargo from one person's ship into your ship. Really, you want as much kind of access to be able to do that as you possibly can. So by having this kind of much larger opening on top of the ship,
that's what it is. It's just a huge space here for cargo.
It allows us to kind of...
There you go. There you go. I mean, this is a... Look at... I mean, we've got to do the math eventually. This is a 32 SCU. And we can probably put that on 2 levels at least. That is going to be a ton of cargo. Plus, we're going to be able to put a lot of vehicles. I can see that as a fantastic hangar, like, you know, low-level hangar for snub fighters as well.
Bring cargo in much
That can be
easier.
a great carrier.
So its role being a sort of armoured freighter comes from 2 distinct ways. One, the cargo itself is more protected. It's within the cargo bay that has the armoured roof section that covers it. So unlike, say, a Hull C where the cargo's on the outside, you can load it from the outside but then protect it with the Ironclad.
Now, it's called Ironclad. Armored roof. It needs to be more armored than your typical Drake ship. I mean, they're selling that, right, as an armored ship that's protecting what's inside. So I would expect this ship to be more durable than your regular Drake ship.
It's also more heavily armored than the Caterpillar, so it kind of gives a little bit more security to your kind of
they're tempering that here. A little bit more security.
precious cargo.
The exterior is very classic Drake brutish styling, a whole lot of engines and a lot of framework and quite thin structural elements support the rest of the ship. Very bare bones styling. It doesn't have
that's Drake,
lots of nice padding. It's all there and exposed, and it's really just sort of rugged and to the point. So the Ironclad is...
What's this? What are those antennae here at the top? I think that these are the wings. Yeah, these wings are deploying and retracting. Cool.
Really 3 distinct areas. You have all the accommodation in the rear sort of third of the ship. The front 2/3 is really just this cargo bay with the front entrance and the retractable roof.
Yeah, the front 2/3. I think that the bridge must be here. I love ships with bridges. It looks so cool.
And then you have the command module, which has seats for the crew, plus a few little jump seats for everyone else. Command module is there to steer the ship.
Okay, so it steers the ship. Then what about the bridge? This kind of looks like a bridge, right? What's the difference between the command module, which steers the ship, and the bridge?
When it's attached, and the command module serves as the
So that's actually not the
escape
bridge.
pod as well. The only time you really want to detach it is in an emergency. It's not designed to be your sort of primary ship flying around.
It kind of gives you a little bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card. If you're transporting stuff that is quite valuable, quite sought after in maybe some of our less desirable systems, what it allows
like
you to
the
do
Paro
is kind of
system,
have a little
yes.
bit of security. So if you're getting attacked or you're getting yourself into trouble, if you want to save yourself, you can kind of jettison your cargo and try and get out of dodge and kind of get out to safety. And I think that's like a really important thing as we get closer to Death of a Spaceman.
Oh, they're mentioning Death of a Spaceman. Okay, yes. And sometimes, you know, that's what we saw in yesterday's video on the main channel. There was some guy, you know, he was in a Mantis. He thought he would interdict some people, and we were there with a fully crew retaliator. The guy just ran away. Sometimes, you know, just running away from a fight that you can't win is the smart thing to do, and that is what that little escape module is going to be able
With some of the
allow
recent
us
tech
to
that's
do.
come online, this brought us one step closer to implementing command modules properly. So not only will you see this detachable command module feature on the Ironclad, but as well it will happen on the Caterpillar.
Nice.
Interior-wise,
They're not giving us date, though.
The ship. You can either enter via the command module, and that takes you straight into a kind of corridor section. It's kind of like almost like a mezzanine.
Oh, that's cool. How do we get there? Is there going to be a ladder? It's Drake. It's probably going to be a ladder.
You can either go up to the habitation area, which is top floor of the ship, gives you like super nice views out both the kind of cargo out the front and the rear of the ship, or you can kind of come down the ship into the main habitation area. Alternatively, you can enter through the docking collar airlock, which is on the opposite side of the ship.
There's also going to be a docking collar. Okay. That's
the
great.
rear of the interior
Makes
of the
sense.
ship,
It's
we've
a
kind
big
of got
ship.
The heart of the engines. It's the big kind of engineering area where we've got all of the kind of main functional components needed for moving such a large ship.
Oh, they're
and
so
then
big.
If you kind of come slightly further forward, got we call it the kind of like the command deck. It's not a bridge. You can't fly the ship from it, but it's where you operate the tractor beams. It's where it kind of gives you good views out over the front and into space.
Oh, so
You've got
that's
the
what it
tractor beam
is.
turrets, but also, visually you can kind of...
So it's not for flying the ship, but doing all the other stuff. Yeah, the tractor beam makes sense, right? Because you're going to have to move all that cargo.
stand in this area or sit in this area and look out over the front and over the bow of the ship and kind of really see what you're trying to pull in or what you're trying to capture into your cargo hold. As we come downstairs, we've got a little kind of covered area at the rear of the cargo hold, and that is where you can store a couple of small ground vehicles or some
Ooh, oh yeah, I see. It's like a little parking space. Oh, that's so cool.
your equipment for moving vehicles and cargo around. and then you're into the main cargo hold of the ship, and this takes up the majority of the interior space, is this large cargo hold.
How much SCU?
One of the things that we were kind of really keen to do was give lots of different views and different angles down into this cargo hold. Again, as we're exploring slightly less lawful systems, we wanted to give the players as much opportunities as we can to kind of be safe aboard their own ship. So either side of the cargo hold, we've got these gantries that run completely front to rear on the ship, and they
Oh, so they have these little catwalks there. Maybe it's gonna be a good spot to shoot people, like intruders.
They give great view down into your cargo bay. They also give that opportunity of if there's someone tries to board you via the cargo bay, it gives you some nice cover opportunities. And we've also got a few little windows that kind of look down into it as well.
Which is also going to be great for shooting. Yeah.
As you move to the kind of like the very front, the very nose of the ship, those gantries lead into a kind of secure cargo area. It's somewhere that's a little bit more difficult to get to when you kind of enter the ship.
A secure cargo area? How do we put cargo there?
When we were looking at it was this idea of police evidence rooms. And so these kind of individual cages where you
so it's going to be like the contraband,
cargo,
right?
Whatever it might be in this area, and it would make
That's the front of the ship.
Quite difficult to try and breach in or out of that area. So it gives us just somewhere a little bit more secure for kind of smaller cargo items.
I see, like the more sensitive ones.
At the very front, we've got access to one of the main turrets and the tractor beam turret.
The biggest attraction for me with it is just the versatility of the cargo space.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. But you love the C2 Hercules, but you think the C2 Hercules is a little too sleek, right? That is so going to replace my C2s.
From a good
I'm going to keep one, but
this is
my kind of stuff.
But also that retractable roof and the tractor beams on board it give it some less legal opportunities for perhaps taking other people's cargo, ships, space, and on the ground. At the time of recording,
but I think that people are going to be targeting this ship as well.
We're also exploring a more military-themed variant of the Ironclad.
Yes!
It doesn't have the name yet, so we'll just call it the Drake.
Ironclad Assault.
Compared to the base ship, this has been developed to support ground assault operations. It has additional turrets covering the upper and lower surfaces to provide more fire support.
But less space inside. Oh, we can put tanks. Nice.
The front section of the cargo area has been redesigned to enable our largest vehicles in game to be deployed from it, such as the tank. In addition...
Ooh, 4 tanks. Oh, that is definitely more than a C2.
The cargo bay has been reduced in size to facilitate a onboard repair facility. So for those of you who want to have a journey in the cargo profession, traditionally you would start out...
So that ship here, the Assault one, will be the one for the carriers.
Something, say, like a Hull. The next step up from there really is sort of into Drake Caterpillar territory. So you're doing roughly an 8 to 10 times jump in cargo capacity. From there, the Ironclad sits nicely between those smaller ships and the much larger bulk carriers such as the Hull C, and then ultimately you get to things like the Hull D, E, and Kraken at the end of the cargo career.
Nice.
Said Kraken.
Oh.
Yes.
Was that a hint at anything?
It's not a hint at anything, but making the Ironclad makes the Kraken easier.
Ah, making the Kraken, the Ironclad makes the Kraken easier. That's interesting.
So building out the Ironclad does, of course, kind of help us
maybe
with
they'll come with
building
the
out
Ironclad
Kraken.
first.
I think increasing that visual library of assets that we can pull from and use in a Drake manufacturer at the right scale is super valuable for when we move on to the larger ships.
Okay, so maybe well, take everything with a grain of salt, of course, but maybe they're going to be using that as a launch platform for something else. All right, cool. I love the military version here. This is awesome. I'm going to Citizen Con, so I cannot pick one up, but I'll definitely upgrade one of my C2s for one of these in the future after Citizen Con. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the chat or in the comment section down below what you guys think of this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.